Hello, hello. Welcome to the Mastering the Qi series. Thanks for checking this out, and I just want to let you know that we're kind of painting with a broad brush here. We're going to go a little bit into the weeds, but I think if you stick with me by the end, hopefully you'll be able to connect some dots between the what, the how, and the why of Qi. And if you've got any questions, jot them down and shoot them to us in an email, and we'll get back to you about that. I'm Dr. Dave McCann. I am the Chief Medical Programs Officer for the Tai Chi Edge, and I've entitled this the Mastering Qi 101, the Enigma of Qi and a Foundational Language Framework. Yeah, really what I want to do is just try to help connect the dots um, between our sensation of chi and the ability to communicate it in such a way that it helps you understand it and potentially help somebody else understand it as well. Because the way we explain chi is how people understand Tai Chi. And that's the reason this conversation matters is because if we oversimplify it, then it sounds mystical, even mythical. You know, guys shooting energy out of their palms and stuff like that. If we overcomplicate it, then it sounds too esoteric or maybe even cult-like. I don't know. But if we avoid it at all, then Tai Chi becomes nothing more than choreographed calisthenics. And hopefully you agree with me that Tai Chi is definitely more than just choreographed calisthenics. So again, we're painting with a broad brush. We want to provide a foundation to build on so that as we continue the practice, we cultivate and develop our awareness of Qi, we'll be able to speak confidently um, and with a knowing that this is not some ineffable, intangible concept, but it's real, it's measurable, and it's vitally important to what we do and why we do it. It's really about unifying our language and elevating our credibility, whether that's with prospective students, with medical or corporate professionals that might be considering bringing Tai Chi into their organization for their clients, for their employees, what have you. The core question really is, how do we explain something that's invisible and do so responsibly? Because Qi is intangible. It is metaphorical. It's also experiential. It's also physiological, and it's measurable. This is why we say the enigma of Qi. In the simplest definition, we go to traditional Chinese medicine, where it's described as the universal life force energy. So, quite simply, it's what we need to live. But not only live, but live well. Um, but the concept of qi in and of itself is kind of complex and overwhelming. So we're going to go back to TCM and break it down a little bit. Um, there's really kind of three main pillars. There's inherited qi, which is called yang qi. There's qi from food. That's our fuel, right? That's our metabolic substrates to make it uh, more physiological. That's called gu qi. Um, there's oxygen that we breathe, cellular respiration, jing qi. We're talking about the genetics, what we came into this world with, what you got from mom and dad. We're talking about the substrates, what the cells, the mitochondria, the ATP, the cellular energy. That's all built on our chi and the essential cellular respiration or metabolic regulation. Chi is physiological. At the cellular level, that's exactly what we're talking about. Remember, you might remember from from biology class, this little guy, it's a mitochondria. These guys are considered the powerhouse of the cells. Oxygen and glucose come into the cell, or chi comes into the cell, and it gets converted into energy or different chi, right? And our genetics influence how efficiently that happens. Something that you might not know is that the mitochondria of the cell are also considered safety monitors. They're like little intercellular submarines floating around, sending out these radar signals all the time, monitoring the environment for danger signals. And when they sense danger, it sounds the alarm. What does that sound like? That, to me, sounds like regulation of nervous system function. When qi is balanced, then all of these processes are integrated and things are in balance. Your metabolic capacity or your metabolic potential is increased. When qi is imbalanced, then things start to disintegrate. The little mitochondrial safety monitor sounds the alarm, activates the nervous system, and your nervous system then becomes dysregulated. Guys, this is the beginning of disease processes. A lot of the stuff that we deal with as a doctor, a lot of it is founded in what's referred to as mitochondrial dysfunction. This is a very common topic as it relates to chronic diseases these days. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So Qi goes beyond biochemistry. Tesla's talking about energy, frequency, and vibration. It's not mystical, it's not mythical, it's physiological. Think of different things in the body that are associated with energy, frequency, and vibration. Things like, I don't know, your heart rhythm, um, brain waves, conduction of the fascia, and electromagnetic signaling from things like the mitochondria, which we just talked about, as well as your gut microbiome. This is another great quote by Albert Einstein. He said, the field is the sole governing agency over the particle. The field, or non-matter, or energy, frequency, vibration, the field is the sole governing agency over the particle, or the matter. That's you and me. So what he's saying here is that frequency organizes matter. Think of the huge flocks of starlings that you see. Maybe you've seen them live, maybe you've seen them on video, but these huge flocks of birds that are just moving synchronously, seemingly, they're all just one thing, just moving through the sky like a big cell. Think about maybe the last time you went to the ballet or you went to a symphony. You didn't just watch it, you experienced it. You didn't just listen to it, you experienced it. You felt it. That's because the frequency, the energy, and the vibration resonated with you. Einstein's saying that frequency beats chemistry. And we're going to look a little bit deeper in an upcoming video. Acupuncturists focus on the flow of qi energy through the meridian channels. In the Eastern traditions of Ayurvedic medicine and yoga, the focus is on the pranic energy emanating from the spinning chakras. Chiropractors focus on the electrical energy of the brain and the central nervous system. Now, these energies and others layer one on top of each other and surround us in a coherent biofield. And don't forget that we exist in the fluctuating magnetic energy field of the Earth. So everything starts as an energy. And it really doesn't matter if we're talking about a broken ankle, anxiety, fertility issues, or any specific diagnosis. It doesn't matter if we're talking about Reiki, chiropractic, or allopathic medicine. It doesn't matter if we're talking about needling, adjusting, herbs, supplements, or medications. It's all about where in the body is the energy out of balance and what can we do to restore that balance. The human body generates measurable electromagnetic fields, and we exist in electromagnetic fields, and all of these fields interact. And when they're coherent, that equals harmony. When these fields are in harmony, it organizes matter and amplifies it. When they're incoherent, that equals disharmony. In other words, disorganized cacophony. Remember the mitochondria, the safety monitor, those danger signals lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. Again, that's where disease begins. Einstein said frequency beats chemistry. The other side of the coin here is this is why we practice in community, because when we're in a group and we're all synchronized and moving together and resonating with each other, that amplifies our field. That's the power of our community practice. It's kind of like drop a pebble into a pond and you see these ripples going out, going out, going out. When we're practicing in a group, we have multiple pebbles and these frequency waves going out, and when they're coherent, when the waves are synced with each other, they amplify. They help to organize matter. We call this entrainment. So synchronization equals entrainment equals group nervous system regulation. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. That's how you pronounce the guy's name. I looked it up. He's considered the father of flow state. And he said, a person can make himself happy or miserable regardless of what is actually happening outside just by changing the contents of his consciousness. Whatever could he be talking about? Consciousness. Oh, well, that takes us right back to Einstein, doesn't it? Frequency beats chemistry. But now we're talking about psychology. This is Tai Chi Edge founder Dr. Clint Pearman. And if you haven't had a chance to check out his most recent article on medium.com discussing the neurobiology of the Qi flow state, you should certainly do so. In the article, Dr. Pearman says, while Qi represents the cultivation of internal energy, and flow refers to the physiological state of effortless immersion, the Qi flow state is ultimately a measurable neurological event. So, drawing on the concept of flow state, Dr. Pearman is really connecting the dots between the Qi flow state and the endocannabinoid system. That's the system in the body that's responsible for the runner's high. So, what we're talking about now is really mind-body medicine. Dr. Pearman builds on the flow state, talking about how action and awareness merging, and we reach that Qi flow state where our perception is altered. Time flies when you're having fun, and you get to that point of intrinsic enjoyment. We get to that happy place, right? Then when Qi is disrupted, going back to traditional Chinese medicine, we have Qi stagnation. The experience of that is tension, emotional irritability, digestive issues, When qi is excessive, again, disrupted from the normal harmonious pattern, when it's excessive, we get restless. We can feel heat rising. It messes with our sleep. This is a quote from a dear friend and colleague of mine, Reverend Dr. Natalie Bale. She says, "The enigma of qi is a unique feeling for each person. When harmonized, qi can feel like a gentle wave or a current of energy, soothing yet energizing, subtle vibration or warmth, a soft pulse of expansion, fluid and aligned, light yet grounding." I put this in because I wanted you to see that Qi's not something that we made up. It's really a universal concept. This is an abbreviated list of Qi and what it means across many different cultures. We mentioned, I think, 3 different types of Qi, but again, you can see from the table here that it's way more complex than that. There's many different types, and they serve different functions in the body. This is a quote from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. He says, "Some call it chakra, some call it Qi, some call it Shakti, but whatever you label it, this inner energy we all have, though intangible, is very much real, and you should never underestimate it." The more we practice consistently doing the same movements in the same way with the understanding of the importance of this energy that we're cultivating, the more coherent our biofields become. As we gain a deeper and deeper awareness of what this energy is and what it can do, as we connect with others who are doing the same, that governing field amplifies. The more we can tune into and cultivate our awareness of this amazing life force energy and tune out the chaos surrounding us, the better off everybody is, because it amplifies your field, it amplifies my field, and we're building off of each other. And that's the real magical, mystical power of Qi and the beauty of Tai Chi. So we're not just teaching forms, we're cultivating coherence, awareness, and health. It's a complex system. It appears across many cultures. It's multifaceted and nuanced and sophisticated. We're not inventing this. We're just trying to steward it responsibly. And if I can, I'm going to share a little bit of a personal story here. It was 1978. I was junior in high school, and I was on my way to my job at Burger Chef, driving the family car. It was a 1976 Chevy Nova. I was listening to the local rock station, KC95, real rock radio, and I was listening to Love the One You're With by Stephen Stills. To this day, I would say one of the best songs of all time. And as I was turning onto one of the main roads, there was another car coming in the opposite direction, and they were turning off. And as we passed each other, I could see a young lady, and we kind of eyes connected, and both of us just started grinning ear to ear, because at that same moment, we were both listening to the same song, jamming out, "Love the one you're with, love the one you're with." In that moment, we were on the same frequency. We were resonating. We were connected. And we weren't just connected to each other. We were connected to the DJ who was in the radio station playing that song at that moment. And we were connected to the thousands of people who were listening to that same song at that same moment. That's Qi in motion. And I think there's a big part of that that doesn't exist anymore, because back in the day, at 6 o'clock, everybody in the community was sitting and listening to or watching the evening news, or driving in their cars, listening to the same and experiencing the same stuff at the same time, and we don't have that anymore. And I think that's a missing, and I think that's another thing that we bring to the table with our community Tai Chi. I guess the takeaway here is we're not going to fully explain Qi. It's an experience to be cultivated, and it's not our responsibility to prove it, but it's our responsibility to support others in experiencing it when we're grounded in how we understand it and how we experience it, and with you can use the physiology that we're talking about here and use metaphors when it's helpful and encourage people to be consistent with their practice. As I said in the beginning, I think the future of our organization really depends on this because how we explain Qi determines how Tai Chi is understood. And as we develop our language, we speak consistently, we can bridge the gap between East and West. We can normalize the concept of Qi responsibly. Again, our job isn't to fully explain it or prove it or anything like that. We're just setting the example and being the invitation. We're not teaching choreographed calisthenics. We're cultivating coherence and we're changing lives. By doing so, we are elevating Tai Chi from just choreographed calisthenics to an internal art, to moving meditation, to moving medication. I hope that made sense. I hope that was helpful. And if you got any questions, shoot them to me in an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Thanks. Cheers.